Says we're live.
Yep. Okay, so where should we start? Should we
Another
start
week.
with an update with what's going on with Robby, maybe?
Sure. Um, Still tracking towards beta here. Pretty much finished the help system today. So
Okay.
I think that's going to be a big plus when we go. This is complicated enough program. It's going to need the help system, I think. Have about 5 or 6 more things on my backlog I need to get done before we launch. So I think I'm in pretty good shape for the March 10th launch.
Okay.
We still have to wrap up what's going on the website for that, though. That testing, we got to get that done. Hopefully this week or next week. Make sure we can actually have people download the software once we make it available to them.
Yeah. So I think we got the email domain. I haven't done much other than that. With your help, we got that going. And I guess now we probably have to make time for that.
Yeah, we'll have to schedule something here in all your spare time.
In all my spare time,
buying
right?
a house and working full time and doing Robby. Yeah.
Yeah. You put a topic on the spreadsheet that seems very interesting. You want to maybe talk about that one, Lee?
The IP4?
Yeah, the squatting. IP squatting.
Yeah, that was something that was really news to me. I had no idea. Interesting stuff. I've known about IP6 obviously for a long time. One of the things that's interesting is I have never yet been anywhere that used IP6. It just doesn't seem to be taking hold. But what I didn't realize after reading that article was that they're actually out of IP4 addresses. That you can't get a new static IP4 address without another one being dropped, in theory at least. And the squatting is people getting IP4 addresses and holding on to them, which is they're hoarding them.
How would you? Well, I guess what are so in my experience, the way that I've gotten any IP addresses is through my ISP.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So usually, they charge extra if you want to use a static IP.
Yep.
So is then is it the ISPs that are mostly hanging on to them and not letting them go, or how do I guess how do you get one if it's not through your ISP? It has to be through your ISP,
Well, it
right?
would be through your ISP, and I guess as ISPs, you're going and buying them in blocks or getting them in blocks. I think it's mostly companies that are getting them and hoarding them, like the big internet, the ISPs and stuff like that. They get blocks of them and they want to have them around, so in case their customers want them, they'll sit on them.
That makes sense.
Yeah, so it becomes a hoarding thing at some point.
Yeah,
but it was interesting to me. I had no idea we were at that point. I knew I've all heard it was coming for years, but I guess it's been going on now for quite a while that they actually ran out of them.
Yeah, I've had 2 different ISPs in the last year. So I had Comcast first, and you're right. They either offer you 1 IP or 5 or 10. So it's not like you go in and pick how many IPs you want. It's like a set of, and I think I bought it both times. I got five static IPs, and then I switched to AT&T, and then same thing. I got also 5.
Yeah, it
So
seems like they're still available. They continue to be available. I guess there's enough turnover in them that it keeps them being available so far.
yeah, so I didn't have an issue with, I didn't have to wait or anything like that for the IPs to be set. You know, it's that it was pretty much like within a day or two that they came out and they installed the, you know, the internet service and the IPs were already set. But
Right.
that's interesting. And I guess why do you think is the reason that IP6 hasn't really taken off? Is it because I see it in routers? Like if you go, you know, if you go to Best Buy or any store and you get a, you know, you pick up a new router, they have, you know, DHP v6 already there running, and it will dish out, you know, an IP6 to your devices. But other than just being within your network, your house, I don't know, you know, how that works.
Yeah, me either. You know, I've even in big companies I've been to, I've never seen it being used. And I, in the article it said, well, it's beginning to take hold, but boy, I haven't seen any evidence of it.
Yeah. Yeah,
You know,
like
I'd expect the big companies to be switching over already.
yeah, like when you go to yeah, like when you go, you know, set up your domain and you want to set hosting up somewhere, it's always IP4. It's never,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, it's weird. So I wonder how they're saying, you know, that it's taking it's taking a hold or it's becoming more popular. I don't
Yeah, yeah,
know if
I
it's,
have yet to see it. Maybe it's in other countries or something. I have no idea, but it was apparently, according to the article, there are situations now where people are having to wait a while sometimes to get IP4s.
okay.
Which I guess if that starts happening a lot, then it'll take hold. But it's very strange to me, you know, that it doesn't take hold when they're out of the other ones that they can't make it go
Uh-huh.
for all the time that it's been around and people have been talking about it.
Yeah. Let me
Be
leave a
interesting to
comment.
see what happens.
I'm gonna
Uh
leave
huh.
a comment on Instagram in case people want to come over and join us on YouTube.
Ah, yeah, good idea. So you were saying you looked at that glitch product?
I glanced at it. Um,
I thought it was kind of interesting.
yeah.
I could see a place for it, particularly, you know, I thought about, you know, that last shop we worked in with the Ember, where you
Uh-huh.
had a few people that knew all of the packages that had to be there, and you rely on those people to get started, and then eventually you learn to which packages you need and stuff for the JavaScript. So to have something that kind of takes care of all of that for you and sets up the environment for you automatically, if it actually worked, seems like it could be a cool thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So let me pull it up. Maybe I can share my screen. Glitch.com. Maybe someone from the audience is familiar with this.
Yeah, yeah, I'd be interested to know how it is to use it. It looks like a pretty new thing, but I guess it sets you up for a stack of Node and React. I think it's React that it does, and Glitch.
Yeah, so here it is.
Yeah, I
So
didn't read a lot about it, but I looked into it some, and it looked pretty interesting. Just thinking about the configuration issues I've seen in the past.
so is this like a coding platform? Oh, here it is. Here's a screenshot of it.
Yeah, it seems like it's almost like a framework kind of thing.
So it looks like they give you an environment to work online completely, right? It
Yeah.
seems like
Yeah,
that's
it's
pretty
almost
cool.
an IDE.
Yeah,
It's pretty ambitious, if nothing else.
that is pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah, there's a lot of ifs in something like that. How
Yeah,
versatile is it, and does it really make things easier, or how easy is it to set up, and is it really easier to set up than the environments would be, and all of that kind of stuff. But it's an interesting idea, and I could, it struck a chord with me thinking in all those times of you're trying to get all those libraries and versions right for getting your JavaScript stuff set up to work right. And I could see where there's a market for that possibly, for making all of
I
that go away.
yeah, I think it would work really well if for maybe for UI development. I think well, I'm just trying to wonder here if you're writing like a backend application, like a .NET Core application, does it have the ability to compile, you know, code like that?
Yeah, I think all it does is node for the back end.
Okay. So it's perfect. I think it's perfect if you're building front end application like spas, like if you choose any type of framework, I think that it's perfect for that.
Well, and if you're used to node and you like node, then it could work well for doing the whole stack for you, I would think. But
Yeah.
it's the proof is in the pudding with something like that. Until you go try it and play with it and get your fingers on it, it's hard to know what it's really going to be like.
Yeah. I think coding, I think it works great if for someone, like you said, for someone who's starting out and you kind of need to walk them around, like the sort of like an orientation. Usually, like the first week or two when somebody joins a new company, it's kind of like, how do you do this? How is this set up? Where do I
Oh
find that
yeah,
code?
exactly. If you had something that just does all that for you and makes it so you sit down and start writing code pretty much, and all that library stuff and version stuff and all the stuff that comes along with the JavaScript world
Uh-huh.
just got dealt with for you magically. Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah. Our friend Bismarck is here.
Hey, Bismarck. All right.
Thanks for joining again. All right. What else did we want to talk about? Um, oh yeah, this is the a topic that I added. Um, I was asking, or someone asked me actually, if I thought that boot camps were bad. No, actually, it came from an article. I'm lying. It was an article that I found on Medium.
Okay. Right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And so there was this person saying that he had a bad experience going through boot camps. He got in debt after weeks of completing and everything, the whole curriculum. He came out, and this boot camp promised that they were going to get him a job, and that the percentage was in the high 90s of graduates from the boot camp. I think he mentioned 90 or 95%.
Wow.
Got jobs um, as soon as they finished the program. But this person, I guess, didn't, and he felt like there was still a lot to learn after he finished the boot camp. Um, so I have some thoughts on that, and I think it is possible, um, to feel like that. I think it's very likely that you could feel like that if you go to boot camp for one thing and you try to go look for a job, doing something else. right? And it seemed from like what he was describing, it seemed like that's what it was, right? I think going through a boot camp, they're usually fast, right? It's not like a 4-year program, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah, they're usually weeks.
yeah, so they're very specific, as far as what they're going to teach you, and there's still a lot more to learn. Even if you go through a 4-year program, right? If you go to college, when you come out, there's still a lot to learn, right?
You
Uh,
know, there's no magic way to learn this stuff. You just have to do it, I think. And I
yeah.
can see where these boot camps could give you a kickstart on something. And if they have a good placement program, that's worth doing if you have the skill to do it. But there's just no magic, you know. There's nothing that's going to replace actually getting in and writing code and learning from it, I think.
Yeah. Um, Here's a comment from Bismarck.
50. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a real common experience, you know. I think a lot of these kind of things they rely on people not being successful, getting their money and not finishing it, and then they get to keep the money and don't have to worry if they don't find the person a job.
Hmm.
It's
So this is interesting. This, I guess, it's a. I'm kind of curious to. So you're saying that you were able to hack um, CAPTCHA, and that's how you got a job? Is that
that
what? Is
that is interesting if that's what we're saying here. What do we mean by bypass any Google CAPTCHA? That's wow. I'd give you a job if you figured out how to do that. Yeah, I think I told you I did a 7-day thing once to get this Microsoft certification. And it was crazy. It it was 12 hours a day for 7 days straight. And then you took
Wow.
the exams from Microsoft. And I think about 30% of the people in the class passed it. I passed it, but I'd been doing it for years and years, so I was mostly just wanting to find out the specific stuff for the exam. But they
Okay.
claimed, no, come with no experience, and we'll get you passing the test in 7 days. Yeah, right. That's not really how that went.
Wow. So 12 hours days, 7 days, you said?
Yeah, 7 days straight for 12 hours a day. On the seventh day, you actually took the Microsoft exams.
Oh, wow.
And it was just force feeding you all this stuff, going through all this Microsoft material. And oh boy, was it ever drinking the Microsoft Kool-Aid. It was everything about Microsoft processes and that I cared not at all about. But
And is this one of those certifications that you have to renew every so often?
no, you didn't have to renew it. It becomes obsolete kind of eventually, I think. I don't even remember what it was called now, MSVC or something. I can't remember. It
Hmm.
was back in around 2005 I did that. Whatever the hot Microsoft cert to have for programmers was in those days.
Okay, so here's his Bismarck
Yeah.
explaining a little more of what he did.
Far out. They couldn't go through a CAPTCHA. I broke it a few times, ended up getting the job without even having an interview.
That's good.
Yeah, whatever it takes. That's pretty cool. I'm curious to know how you broke the CAPTCHA, though. That's, I'm sure Google wouldn't want that publicized.
No, probably not.
I hate some of those things. Some of them you just can't get it quite right. I don't like it.
Yeah, the get all the traffic lights.
Yeah,
Take them
yeah.
out.
You click all
Nope.
the ones that have a traffic light. Oh crap! I missed one. There's no traffic light there.
Someone on Instagram is asking, "What's your favorite language?" C sharp.
Yeah, I guess C sharp. Like I said before, I think JavaScript so much is the coolest language, but C sharp's the easy one for me. So it's what I write most of the time.
Yeah.
You know, I don't even have to think about it to write it anymore. For the most part, you just kind of sit there and type.
Yeah. Today, that's kind of like what happened to me today. Like it felt like for the last 3 days I was researching, chasing something, and I finally clicked today. It's like, okay, finally I get to write code and not just, going around the code trying to understand what this is doing.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the new job blues there.
Yeah.
Getting used to the new code base.
Yeah. On Instagram, they're saying sound. Are you guys not able to hear me on Instagram or hear us on Instagram?
Oh,
Well, sometimes you get, funny people that just say like, "Hey, we can't hear you," or "Can you hear you?" But it's usually just one person saying it, and they're like, "What?"
and it's because their computer's not working, probably.
Yeah. I'm really curious to see the demo, or to be able to show it to the audience. Oh, there's something we didn't update, Lee, is your videos, the new
Oh,
videos that
right.
you uploaded.
Right. Yes. Yeah, we have our first tutorial videos up now on the We Are Robby YouTube channel.
Yeah. Actually, I think there should be a link in the description of the live stream. So whoever wants to check it out, they can go there.
Yeah, we put up a 3-part video that is kind of an overview and getting started video for the Robby framework.
Okay, they're saying they can't hear me,
Huh.
that it's very low.
Huh. I can hear you fine here, but I'm not on Instagram.
Hmm. Yeah, I hear you just fine. Maybe they just have to turn it up a little bit.
You know, that's hardly ever it.
Yeah, Bismarck on YouTube is saying that he can hear us perfectly.
Okay, so
Okay,
YouTube's working, but Instagram not,
and
huh?
yeah. Hmm.
Well, it's one of those days when stuff's not working.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe the demo kit wouldn't work for me. I was using it all day long on my other computer. And I know it's just some glitchy little thing going on because I can use it. It works when I run through the Robby framework, but when I run through the UI for the demo, it doesn't work. The LiDAR doesn't work.
Do you have the cameras, the device there, Lee? Yeah.
Yeah.
You wanna show it?
Well,
So
I'm
it's
trying to figure out how I could show. Let's see here.
Oh,
Try
okay.
it.
So it's maybe plugged in.
Well, my real problem right now is I don't have enough USB plugs on this computer to be able to plug the camera in at the same time as I got the headphones in. If I
Oh, I
had a
see.
if
No,
I
but I
had a
was thinking.
USB-C adapter, I could.
No, but what I was thinking is just maybe just showing the physical device on camera.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm thinking too, but
Oh, okay.
I don't have the port to plug it into.
Oh, okay.
Um, possibly. I'm going to go quiet for just a second here because I'm going to unplug my headphones and see if I can.
Sure. I'll answer questions on Instagram while you do that, Lee. Someone's asking, what kind of computer do I use? Well, I use three different kinds of computer. Right now, I'm using an old ThinkPad to do that, to run the live stream for Instagram and for YouTube. I use that old Alienware. That's my personal computer. And I have a Dell laptop that my work provided for me to work on that. And someone's asking if you are able to hack with HTML. No, you cannot. Hey, Bismarck, a quick question. Are you able to hear the music? I can hear it on my headphones, but Lee cannot. So I wonder if you're able to hear it.
Can you hear me now?
Yep, I hear you, Lee.
Oh, okay. Hey, look at there. Something worked. Let's see here now. I got that working, then I might be able. Oh, hey, look at this. Okay. Well, I'm trying to get this camera to work. So far, without much success.
Oh, you plugged in another camera to be able to show it?
Yeah, sort of. It's kind of a long story, but so far the Intel software is not liking it. Keeps unhooking the camera. Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen. That's too bad.
No worries, Lee.
Well, we've been promising this for a while. It's getting time to actually get it going here. And it is going. It's just not going on this computer for some reason.
So you right now you're in your office, Lee, or are you in your shop?
I'm out in the shop.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I've been running it on my desktop computer in my office. And that works fine. But then I brought it out this afternoon to get it going on my laptop computer out here in the shop where I have the camera and can do the video conference stuff. But it didn't work when I hooked it into the laptop.
That's how it always goes. Every time you want to do a demo.
Yeah, boy, it's been like that lately. I gotta get my luck working better here.
Bismarck is saying that he also can't hear any music, so I guess it's only me who hears it, Lee. You went. I think you muted yourself, Lee. Oh, it says that your mic isn't connected, Lee.
Yeah, now we should be hooked back up.
Yep, I hear you.
Well, it hasn't been a really good tech day. It's one of those days where nothing works.
Yeah, I think I think we gotta just keep trying, Lee, to find which is the best day to stream, right? Or day and time.
Yeah.
I think we had a Saturday morning that worked out really well, right? That we had
Yeah.
quite a few
And we,
people, but then um, we tried it again on another Saturday, and it didn't go that well.
yeah, we've got to have better content here too. It's time to actually get some things working. What was the peak of your careers as a developer? Boy, it's hard to answer that question. There's the peak for me was like my very first programming job was my favorite one, I think, at a company called Knowledge Point that did this HR software. I think I told you about we did one of the really early SaaS applications back in the 90s.
Is this the one that sold to Intuit, or is that a
No, this
different one?
sold to some other company at some point. They did a B round to some company. That's when I left. They had a product called Performance Now. That's what, yeah, for performance review software.
Okay.
And then the online version of it, the SaaS version of it, was Performance Impact.
Oh wow,
Yeah,
that's cool.
that we had fun at that job. We used to do. It was up in Petaluma, California, which is a pretty fun town. We used to do pub crawls around Petaluma that were.
Isn't that where Lagunitas is from?
Yeah, that's right, Lagunitas Brewery. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's Petaluma. We had a group of us we called the Wrecking Crew that like to go bounce around the bars in Petaluma till closing time.
That
We used to
sounds
have quite a
fun.
bit of fun. Yeah, we used to have quite a bit of fun. I still hang out with some of those people sometimes, and that was over 20 years ago, 25 years ago now. God, it's hard to believe that was that long ago.
Wow. So a SaaS company 20 some years ago. Wow. That's had to have
Yeah,
been
we
one of
did.
the first.
We built a web app with VB6 using web classes, they were called, which was kind of a precursor to ASP.NET, to web forms. It didn't
Wow.
work very well, but we made it work. I mean, we had an app that was actually a workable performance review app that they're
Nice.
selling for subscriptions. I think we
Wow.
released it in about 97 or 98.
And how was the architecture? Were you or the infrastructure? Were you guys hosting it as well? Because there was no such
At
thing as
first,
cloud
yeah.
providers, right?
Yeah, at first we were hosting it, and I think they finally, rented a server on some farm somewhere eventually. But yeah, we were hosting the stupid thing in the office there to start with.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah, that VB6, it wasn't much of a language, but you could do quite a lot with it. And that
I
app
think,
ended up working pretty good.
wow. So all of that, you guys could host it on one server, or was it multiple machines that?
To start with, it was one server, until it started taking off a little bit. It got to where it was doing pretty well by the time I left the company. And at that point, it was out being hosted somewhere on a farm.
Yeah, if you mentioned that they got a Series B round, right? So I would imagine if investors were putting money in it, it's because it had traction, right?
Yeah, yeah. Well, the company had been around for 10 years at that point.
Oh
It,
wow.
it did pretty well as DOS software originally.
Oh,
They had performance now and descriptions now that did job descriptions and policies now that wrote policy handbooks.
okay.
And they're pretty good apps.
For me, my I guess my peak was when I went from doing this part time, like freelancing, to doing it full time at the startup in 2015. That's what 7 years ago, almost in June. Um, no, actually, no, it was at the beginning of the year when I started 2015. Yeah, so that was for me. That's where I learned the most. Like once I started doing it full time, and I wasn't doing any stuff related to construction. I think that's how I learned the most. Just building stuff, researching, and then when I came to the our old job where I met you, I learned even more there. And I think there it was because there was more people, more experienced people than I was, and you're able to pick up a lot of things like that.
Yeah, yeah. That was a pretty comfortable learning environment, too, I felt like.
Yeah.
For the most, there weren't a lot of people who were holding on to their knowledge and not sharing it. Most
Hmm.
people were pretty easy to get what they knew from them.
Yeah.
I guess that job was probably my peak in terms of the level of the position I had when we
Yeah.
were
You
at,
were managing
yeah, at
a lot
one
of
point it
people.
was up to around 20 people I was managing there.
Yeah.
And that's when I started really hating it. It may have been the peak for position, but I got to where I really didn't like that
Yeah.
for reasons you know all too well.
Yeah, I think and it kind of started happening to me as well, Lee. It's because you kind of get, you step away from coding. It's I think that, I guess, and it happens to a lot of people, right? If you want to become successful, right, one of the ways is for you to get more responsibility within your team, your organization, right?
Yep.
And then you move from being just a developer to managing people. I mean, there's no other way really, right? If you just want to be a senior dev, a senior developer, and you're okay with that, what that could pay, which is enough for most people. But some
Yeah, these
people
days
want,
especially, yeah.
yeah, some people want more, right? And the only way to get more is to get into management. Well, once you do that, you're taken away from coding. You're going to spend a lot of time in meetings. um, you learn to become a politician.
Yep. It's basically you sell your soul. If you're a programmer at heart, you're going to sell your soul when you become a manager.
Yeah. Yeah, so that happened to me. And then so now where I am now, I'm happy just programming. um, I get to somewhat have well, I do have weekends away from work. I do my 9 to 5. um, on Saturday, Sunday, I don't have to worry about getting a call that something happened in production, and you have to be available to fix it. I don't miss that at all.
Yeah.
Although I know that, that happens anyway, right? Any company you work for, there's always production issues and there's always people taking care of them. So,
Yeah,
and
there's always, it's a matter of degree. If it's something that happens once in a while, that's fine. No big deal. If it's like every freaking weekend you're getting called, then it's not that good. Then I get tired of it real quick.
our friend Bismarck is sharing some numbers here.
Is 5% of Canada or USA dev salary? 5%?
So Bismarck, you're saying that if someone makes 100,000 in here in the U.S. or Canada, that person makes 5,000 a year. Is that
Yeah,
what you're
that can't
saying?
be. I mean, I'm sure it's bad, but it can't be that bad. That's terrible. I heard not that long ago you could still hire programmers in India for about $1,000 a month, and it was considered pretty good wages still. And that's abysmal. But that's not 5%.
1,000 a month. That's that's what
12 grand a
100.
year.
That's what 160 hours. What does that come out to?
Um,
Like,
well, I'm not even sure by the hour. It's 12,000 a year. Yeah, I can't do that kind of math in
about
my head.
$6 an hour.
Yeah, yeah. You know, in India, for a long time, that would have been a lot of money. I doubt if that's still true.
Yeah, $6 an hour.
But it wasn't that many years
When
ago that my friend told me he could hire people for that there still.
when I when I like 2002 2003, I was working on a somewhat big project, um, and we had a team. It was like 3 developers, and I think we were charged $10 an hour, $10 or $12 an hour. Yeah,
For programmers in India?
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So that, you got to figure there was probably a 40% markup on that over
Mhm.
what they were actually paying the programmers.
Yeah, yeah, because we did go through a company. We didn't hire directly.
Right. Those things tend to just be meat markets.
Um, Someone on Instagram is saying 25 to 30 USD a month. I'm not sure what that means.
US dollars, 25 to
Yeah,
30,
USD a month. I don't know. That
maybe
sounds too low.
2,500 or to 3,000
Yeah.
US dollars.
Okay, so
Junior with Angular, $500 per month. Is that per month? Wow. Okay. That's not 5%, but it's not much.
yeah,
Actually, that is about 5% if you were making 120K a year,
yeah,
because that'd be 10,000 a month, and 500 would be right at 5% of that.
yeah. So on Instagram, we have another the person who said 25 to 30 USD per month
Hmm.
is saying that that was his salary in Cuba 4 years ago.
Oh, in Cuba, also, it really
Yeah.
is $25 or $30 a month, probably. Yeah.
And you worked as a junior developer in Cuba?
Wow.
Wow, that's not a lot of money, Lee.
Yeah, yeah. Well, Cuba, it's kind of a different scale there.
Yeah. So Bismarck, I forget. Are you in Brazil right now?
I think he's Brazil. Yeah.
Yeah. Because there was another person. Maybe I'm confusing them. That they were also from Brazil, but they were living in like northeast in the U.S., like Vermont or Rhode Island, somewhere up there. Maybe I'm confusing him with someone else. Apologies, Bismarck.
Yeah, you're getting senile.
Yeah,
That's what
yeah, that
I do.
happens. Yeah, so he just confirmed that he is in Brazil.
Yeah, okay. I thought he was.
Well, so do you work full time as a developer, Bismarck? Because maybe
for
one day we'll need a an Angular developer.
yeah, yeah. You know, I give you 1,000. You know, it's all relative, I guess, to what it costs to live.
Yeah. Yeah, so like even ourselves, Lee, I mean, or myself, like if I get paid what I get paid now, and I try to go live in San Francisco, which is 2 hours away, it's not
Yeah,
gonna happen.
yeah, yeah. Which is amazing with what you make.
Yeah,
That's something you couldn't live on in San Francisco.
yeah.
Yeah, I've been looking at places where expatriates go live cheap, and then thinking about different places.
Costa Rica. I heard Costa Rica is a lot of people
Yeah,
going there.
yeah, it's supposed to be pretty nice. I got a friend, actually, I talked to a friend that I hadn't talked to for a long time who is essentially an expatriate. He lives different places all over the world. He spent this year mostly in Spain, but he spends at least half his time in Thailand.
Okay.
And he said he can get a really nice place to live in Thailand for about $300 a month.
Wow.
And food is virtually free. I guess if you go to the street vendors in Thailand, you can have a really good dinner for $2.
Wow. Hmm.
Yeah. So that's got some appeal to me.
That's not bad, Lee.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I heard that some towns in Mexico are also becoming destinations for retirees. I've always heard of Costa Rica. I've never been, so I wouldn't know. But I know that in Mexico there are some places that it would be nice to live.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I've been Manzanillo, really nice. I lived
Yeah.
there a couple times, really enjoyed it, and could definitely live there real easily. I'd be just fine with living there. Thinking going to work as Japan as a yeah, Japan, you better be ready to do some work if you're going to go to Japan to do work as a dev or anything else. Also, not cheap in Japan, pretty expensive. Interesting place. I went to Japan uh, 15 years ago or so, and it's different. It's different than anywhere else I've been.
Yeah, I think there would be some cool places to visit in Japan.
Oh yeah, yeah. You know, it's definitely worth going to see. It's the culture is so different. Interesting. I was out watching one day these cops that were traffic cops on the side of the street that had this big white stick, and when somebody did something wrong, they would point the stick at them in their car, and the people had to pull over. And when the people pulled over, you would swear they were getting pulled over by their best friend and were there to have fun talking to them. They were so appreciative. It was just all so completely polite and upbeat when they're getting pulled over to get a ticket. It was interesting. You know, in America they'd be pissed off. In Japan, oh yes, I'm so sorry.
That's crazy. On Instagram, we have someone who is from Mexico, from Puebla. Do you also work as a developer? We're talking about how much developers make in different parts of the world.
Yeah, I'd be
So
interested to know what they get in Mexico.
I know that in Mexico City they make decent money.
Is that
Obviously,
right?
because it's in a big city.
Yeah, it
Like,
probably has a pretty high
yeah.
cost of living compared to the rest of the country. Well, next time one way or another, I will have the demo kit working for this. It's time to show Robby.
Bismarcker saying that I guess he's coding right now as he listens to us.
Gigantic to be delivered tomorrow. Whoa. He's
Well,
working at a quarter to midnight. Oh, yeah, I remember those nights.
yeah.
Did that once or twice.
Yeah.
I'm too old for that stuff now. Now it's late if I'm up at 9 o'clock at night.
Yeah, and he confirmed. Bismarck also confirmed that he does have a full-time job.
For 500 a month, he's still making. Man, that's. I guess if you can live on it, that's all that matters.
Yeah. Yeah, over here, 500 a month wouldn't go very far, Lee.
Yeah, that's not more than about a week's worth of food. A little more than that, but not that much.
I mean, right now, I think last time I filled up my tank, which happens about twice a month, I paid $60 something, $60. Let's say $60.
Yeah,
That's 120 gone right there.
yeah, it's like $5 a gallon. It's crazy. And getting worse. That oil stuff's going to get worse now too, probably since Russia invaded Ukraine.
Yeah, that's another thing that's going on, Lee.
Yeah, that's a spooky one.
Luckily, I sold whatever stocks I had, most of them, right before it happened. But I did it by accident. I didn't plan it. It's just that I wanted to have more cash, for the house. So I dumped what I had, and I think it was perfect timing.
Yeah. I'm betting we're going to get a little bit of a dip here.
Yeah.
Hope we don't end up at war.
Yeah.
Would not be good to be at war with Russia.
No.
I was really surprised he went in. I don't see. I felt like it was really smart for Putin to be threatening to go in, but it doesn't feel smart for him to go in. He is going to spend so much money on that. This country, I don't know, his country's already kind of struggling financially, man.
Yeah.
Because it's going to cost. And the U.S. and Europe are going to be sending all the weapons they can in there for them to fight back with. It's going to be ugly for all parties concerned, I think.
Yeah. No one wins when.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
All right, Lee, we've been going for almost an hour. Should we call it?
Yeah, we can. I promise we'll have Robby next time. If I have to buy a new computer to do it, no, I'm not going to buy a new computer, but I'll get it working. All right.
All right, Lee. Well, thanks everyone for joining.
Yeah, thanks. Good to talk to you again, Bismarck.
Yeah, and good luck on that project. Hopefully you get it delivered on time with 0 bugs.
Yeah, that happens so often.
All right. Have a good night, everyone.
Good night, everyone.